have to make sure that we're on sound footing with our own charter. And where do we get the answer for that?
I mean, you might get an AG's opinion on it. You certainly could get the opinion of the law director, but the only all you'd have is opinions. But there's considerable case law that suggests the proposition that general laws override charters.
Even with the newfound power, I think, that the Supreme Court just gave charter forms of government. I mean, have you considered?
No, sir, not with that exact language, but I don't think that decision cuts away from the proposition that charters are subject to the general laws of the state.
Because I would like to see, I mean, I've always preferred that the people decide who the representatives are, and I would like to have an election when we're allowed to have an election.
That certainly is the mayor's position.
Problem is I'm trying to figure out, can we do it lawfully? That's my quandary.
That's the $6,000 question.
Mr. Law Director, in your opinion, can we hold a special election this fall according to the charter of Knox County?
Not according to the charter, and not according to the state constitution nor the laws of the state of Tennessee as they exist now, as they exist today. If the call for this meeting was for this body to vote on a special election to be held, for a special election to be held on September 25 and November 6 of this year. It is not a call for a general election. It is not a call for a change in state law for there to be a change in charter counties or in all 95 counties or whatever, for the general law to be changed. This is a request by the mayor to have a special call meeting to authorize a special election in 2007 for the recently appointed 12 county officials. I think that's why we're here, and it sounds like there's several more layers to this than what is in the call.
In your opinion, can we proceed on with what the Mr. Gilbert has asked us to do today, as far as the questions that are being put before the state attorney general, so that, I mean, because we have a special called meeting that says one thing, and you're saying that we're asking for something different.
The call is for a special.
Opinion?
The call is for a special election. Now, maybe the mayor needed to rephrase that, but they're clearly asking for an election. They're clearly asking for that.
Yes.
Is it close enough to the call? Yeah, probably so.
Okay. I guess my question is, if the state attorney general opines that state law can be changed, that we can hold that, can it be, in your opinion, can we get over what it says in our charter that we can still hold that?
So, if the state tells us that our election, which is scheduled for next year, is actually going to be held in September and November, then they can, they make the laws, and we have to abide by those, and those, in just about every occurrence, supersede the county charter. My question becomes, what effect it will have, what's the retroactive effect, and there are a number of legal issues that are involved, and hopefully the Attorney General will give us some guidance on that.
I don't know if this helps the Commissioner, but you have to remember when the charter was written, and even when Article 7, Section 2 was written, it's understandable that when we thought about vacancies in county offices, we thought about the typical vacancy that occurs. Someone dies in office, someone's ill, you replace one vacancy. I don't think any of the framers of those provisions had in their minds an occurrence as catastrophic as this occurrence, where you lose 8 of 19 commissioners, 4 of 6 county constitutional offices. No one contemplated that. So the legislature has the ability to act in a remedial way for special circumstances like this, and the nature of this law that we would submit to Nashville would be tailored to those kind of catastrophic events where you lose more than 25% of your county commission, more than a third of your constitutional officers. So it would have a narrow application, if you will, by effect on only very few situations, but it would be written in a way that certainly applied to Knox County. That's why it'd be a general law, and that's why it would supersede the charter.
Let me ask you, Bud, do you need a vote today in order to get the opinion back from the State Attorney General?
The opinion will come on its own, regardless of what this body does.
And as far as timing, as far as we need, so that we sit here and we wrestle with whether or not this is something that we could do legally or not, is this not something that maybe we could wait for that opinion, or do we need to act on this today?
I probably should defer to the mayor on that question.
I'm sorry?
I made it really clear when I announced this that I wouldn't be lobbying any of you one way or the other, and I haven't. But it's your decision now. I think you need to let the General Assembly know where you have any interest or not. If you do, then they can move forward. If you say no, then I think they wouldn't pursue it any further.
Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't see any more lights on. I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to call for the questions. I think we all know how we're going to vote. You had mentioned, Mr. Law Director, that we had September and November as the election dates. Is that correct? Where am I missing February?
That's what's in the call. You're missing February because we're not there. The call for this meeting from the mayor was for elections to be held to coincide with the city elections.
We were talking about this year. We're not
September
talking about
2507 and November 607. That's right.
Great. I want to clarify that because we are looking at possibly, if this doesn't pass, we're looking at a February date for the primaries.
February 12, I believe, and August 7,
okay.
08.
I have always been in favor of the special election from day one, and will be voting in favor of the special election, and for this reason. I believe this is what the people want. In going around and talking to a lot of people since January 31st, I've probably had, and I've tried to count, about 300 people who have said, if you can vote sooner rather than later, do you want to vote sooner? And I've probably had 10 people who have said no, approximately 300 people who have said yes. I really believe that the people want to vote sooner than later. The notion that this is a do-over or the notion that this is some kind of an impeachment, there is nothing that we as a body can do to even address that, because the only people that can do a do-over is a judge or the citizens of Knox County. I'm assuming that most of these 12 are going to run for election. If they're going to put themselves before the voters, they're going to take their positions there, they're going to answer questions, they're going to knock on doors, go to PTA meetings, do all of those things. And so the citizens of Knox County will determine who their representatives are. I fully expect that we're going to see some, if not all, of these faces back on commission after Election Day, whether it's this fall or next year. So the notion that this is somehow an attempt to do a do-over, that's just not in the cards. You can't do that. This is not an impeachment of anybody. We can't do that. This is just a matter of saying, are we going to let the citizens vote sooner rather than later? I'm convinced the citizens want to vote sooner, as quickly as possible, to let their positions be known. And again, I fully expect that we'll see a lot of these folks back on commission possibly after they take their messages to the voters. But this is just an opportunity for them to speak. So, Mr. Chairman, with that, I will call for the question.
Commissioner Hammond, before we do that, we don't even have a motion on the floor.
And I'll make a motion that we approve the special election.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Mark Harmon. Okay, we're ready.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to disclose that I do work for the Knox County Trustee.
And I do have family members who work for the sheriff. I think people understand that by now. Okay.
I also have people work for the sheriff's department and son that works in the school system. Of course, I've been here 3 years. My wife's been here about 20 years.
And I have the Knox
Well-
County Sheriff's Office.